So I'm in Titusville, Florida right now. I just left Walmart and I'm on my way to the Manatee HammockCampground. And I've never been down this stretch of road, so this is going to be new for all of us. This is route, we're turning on to Columbia Boulevard, which is also Route 405 East. It's kind of funny that it's 405 East because it runs north and south as best as I can tell, primarily. I'm sure at some point it will do a little zig to the left and end at the ocean at 1A1 or something like that. Now, Manatee Hammock Campground is a county-owned park, campground and park, owned by Brevard. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Brevard or Brevard County. It's where Titus is, and it ends, Titusville, it ends just above Port Canaveral, because that's a different county. They have a park in Port Canaveral, that county has a park in Port Canaveral called Jetty Park that we've stayed at several times, and I love it. We'll be back there in April as well. I'm not quite sure where the county lines are. Somewhere between where I'm staying now and Port Canaveral. Port Canaveral is a major center for cruise ships and the cruise lines. There's also a submarine base there for the Navy, and they use that same channel to go out to the Atlantic. And when you're at Jetty Park, you can watch the cruise ships come in and out. There's a ship, it's much smaller than the cruise ships, but it's a gambling ship. You know, they go out just off the, I think it's the 12-mile line, and then they open up the roulette wheels and whatnot. And every once in a while you get to see a submarine, and it's pretty cool. You can fish right off the jetty there as well. But Manatee Hammock is on the mainland side of what's called Indian River Lagoon. So Cape Canaveral and Port Canaveral are out on intercoastal barrier islands, as I think of them. And in between are sections of saltwater that they call lagoons. So this park is right on Indian River Lagoon. There's a giant, they call it a fishing pier, you know, that I'm going to be checking out and hopefully catching some fish off. And from what I've seen on Google Maps, satellite view, it's a nice looking park. And the park area outside of the campground, you know, where you can go sit on the shoreline and you can go fishing, and there's walking trails. That looks very nice. The campground looks okay. The sites are full hookup, so electric, water, and sewer. They look like they're spaced fairly well apart, as opposed to a lot of the private campgrounds down here that are just, you're wall to wall. You couldn't fit another camper in between, and most of the campers that I've seen on these private campsites. So this one looks pretty interesting. Super hard to get into any park down here on short notice. I got lucky about 3 weeks ago. My travel plans had changed a little bit, and my flight that I picked up was a couple of days earlier than I expected. So I was without a campsite, and I looked all over the place. Disney didn't have any sites. The KOA I'm going to Sunday didn't have any sites, and I just happened to find this one, and it had one site for the 2 nights I needed. You know, it's God's will, I guess. But so when I pull in here, I'm gonna do a couple of videos from here this weekend. First one is going to be pulling in, you know, what's around it, like we're doing right now, what the entrance is, where you go to park and register, and then the trip into the campsite. Then I'm going to put the camera on my bicycle, my mountain bike. I don't like driving around in a car through campsites because I don't like it when other people do it. So I try not to be a hypocrite. But I'll put the camera on my bicycle and we'll take a ride around the campground. We'll look at some sites. We'll look at what they have for bathhouses. Then we'll go down to kind of the park area down by the water and the fishing pier. And we'll just kind of see what there is. There's a lot of stuff to do around there from what I've seen. The National Police Museum is there. There is a Warbirds Museum, which I'm going to try to hit up tomorrow. Right there at the airport. obviously is Cape Canaveral. I've been to Cape Canaveral a couple of years ago with my wife, so I enjoyed it a lot. I would go with somebody else that hadn't been, but it's not something I'm going to go do alone. But there's Cape Canaveral. You could go to Jetty Park as a day trip. You know, they've got huge sandy beach on the Atlantic. They've got the jetty on the side of the channel, and they've got a fishing pier that's a cement fishing pier that's got to be a third of a mile long that you can walk out and fish to your heart's content. So that's within about 10 or 15 minutes of here. You know, Cocoa Beach and all of that stuff. So there's a lot to do here. Alright, should be right here on the left. This should be it. There it is, Manatee Hammock Campground, Parks and Recreation. Gated, I like that. Registered campers only after closing of gate. So I imagine there's a keypad or something to get in. Alright, registration office is well marked, at least where to go for it. Good. Park office, reception area, stop. Alright. Well. I may have pulled into the wrong lane, I don't know. Alright, well that was painless. I'm all checked in. Now I just gotta make this corner. And we made the corner. Didn't pull that ass bunch door off because he was standing there with the door hanging wide open right next to my camper. We're going to 19, so I'm come down here. My next little intersection, I'm gonna take a right. It's well shaded, that's nice. And the guys inside were super friendly. They don't know anything about fishing. I asked him what people are catching them on. He says he gets them at the supermarket, but super friendly folks. The rules here are kind of restrictive. Not crazy. I'll go over them, but I think it'll make for a better time. Great. I got people right freaking beside me. You got to be kidding me. I got a problem here. I'm gonna have trouble getting into my campsite. And I got back right the fuck up to it. So a little tight right here, not too bad. Yeah, I just need as long as this thing is, it's hard to cut it. Thank you. I'm not quite sure why both of them are getting in it.